The mussels found in French Creek are not the type of animal that you look at and say, "Ooh, I want one of those for a pet." But nonetheless, they are fascinating creatures and a very important part of the biodiversity in our watershed. Many people overlook these interesting creatures, not even noticing them, because they blend into the creek bottom, often looking like just another rock. However, mussels, also known as clams, are a vital part of the interconnected aquatic ecosystem found in French Creek. Scientists have studied and mapped the mussels of French Creek and have identified 26 different species in the watershed. And just so you know how amazing that number is, the entire continent of Europe, if you take all 44 countries combined, they only have 8 species of mussels. 8! And here in our watershed, we have an amazing 26 species. Now that's pretty darn cool. We even have nationally endangered and threatened mussel species in the creek. The northern riffle shell, the club shell, the rayed bean, and the snuff box are all endangered, and the rabbit's foot is threatened. And yet, they are still found in French Creek. Mussels live their lives partially submerged in the stones and sand at the bottom of the stream. They use their foot and dig down into the substrate. Then they stick out their siphons and they filter the water. They take water in, filter out the plankton and other nutrients, and then spew out clean water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of their lives. And each mussel can filter 8 or more gallons of water per day. Here you can see how the water goes into the in-current siphon, and then clean water comes out the ex-current siphon. Fascinating. Mussels are a long-lived animal and can live up to 100 years. Did you know that you can actually age a mussel by counting the growth rings? It's just like a tree. Occasionally, if you explore the banks of the creek, you may find piles of spent shells along the banks. These are known as muskrat middens, even though other critters like raccoons, fishers, and otters also eat mussels. Small mussels are also eaten by herons, ducks, and some fish species, and are a very important part of the food chain. Here is a river otter enjoying a snack of a freshwater mussel. Very cute. Since mussels do not move much in their lifetime, they become part of the habitat, providing stream bottom stability and providing places for aquatic insects and other creatures to live and lay eggs. So, if mussels don't move much in their lifetime, how did we get mussels in all 117 miles of our creek? Well, mussels have some really cool life cycle adaptations that help them to distribute their young. Let's take a closer look. Basically, mussels hang out in the creek bottom, and the male mussels spew out sperm into the water. The females take it in along with the plankton, etc. It then fertilizes her eggs, which then develop into microscopic larval mussels called glaucidia, which are stored in special chambers in their gills. Many species of mussels need a fish to complete their life cycle. So females have clever adaptations where they can make part of their bodies look like a small fish, insect, or some sort of thing a larger fish might want to eat. This lure flaps in the water and attracts a fish to investigate. And you can see the chambers full of glaucidia when the lure flaps. Here we see a fish investigating the lure. Soon the fish takes a bite and bam! The female releases her tiny glaucidia right into the face of the fish. The fish is like, whoa, what was that? Meanwhile, the tiny glaucidia are rapidly attaching themselves to the gills and fins of the fish, using their tiny hooks to dig in for dear life, and off goes the fish. Some of our mussel species even go as far as snapping their shells together to capture the fish and pump their glaucidia into the face of the fish, giving their babies an even better chance to attach to the fins and gills. Then the mussel lets the fish go. Meanwhile, the little larval mussels grasp onto the fins and gills and ride the fish wherever it may travel, anywhere from a few days to a month. The baby mussels continue to grow as they are attached, and you can see here on the fins and gills of this small fish. When the mussels reach about the size of a head of a pin, or maybe a bit larger, they drop off the fish, hopefully in a suitable habitat, and that is where they will live the rest of their lives. Pretty cool adaptation. Good mussel habitat includes clear, clean, moving water, which will provide ample food and dissolved oxygen for the mussels to thrive. Thankfully, French Creek has that. Hopefully today you have learned something new and cool about freshwater mussels, some of our most fascinating creatures found in the French Creek watershed. Make sure you check out all our other educational videos on our YouTube channel, French Creek Valley Conservancy, FCVC. Check them out.